Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Winback, and on today's episode, we'll be playing Grim Dawn. The definitive edition for this game is coming up to the Xbox very soon, which is really cool for those guys, so I figured we'd make a video series about some easy-to-learn stuff, give you some tips on beginning the game and how just to get the most out of it. Oh boy. We just gotta learn some lore real quick while Captain John Bourbon decides to talk to us in the background. Hopefully his voice isn't going over my voice, but fingers crossed. Anyway, in this video, we'll go over some general plot, we'll go over some game mechanics, gear, monsters, and other simple stuff just to get you jumping into the game. And then, since you're picking up the definitive edition, you should have access to the base game and both expansions, which include Ashes of Malmeth and Forgotten Gods. So nothing you're seeing should be different from what you're actually playing. Fingers crossed for you. Now, all that being said, the plot of the game is an action RPG, so a lot of it's going to be told through the methods of atmospheric storytelling, lore that you pick up, lore that you put together, things that you see throughout the game. And then obviously we've got our generic stats throughout the game, which are our physique, cunning, spirit, and then you've got your health and your energy. Your combat stats are going to be your offensive and defensive ability. It also will show you your damage per second and your armor rating. Now, all of this stuff is going to get a little bit deeper in the game than we have time for in the first video, but eventually we'll tackle those stats so you can kind of make a better idea about what your class does, how best to play it, and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, when we get into the game, we have just been freshly cut down from the noose because we were possessed by what is known as an ethereal. The ethereal are basically a cosmic race of beings who inhabit people, just possess us, take over our bodies, make us do unspeakable things, and kind of trap us in our own minds. It gets worse, I promise, as the story goes on. Not worse in terms of storytelling, it's actually quite good, but the horrific nature of your enemies in this game gets nasty. That being said, all the zombies being raised in the beginning part of the game here are all ethereal controlled, because they can raise the dead too, which is good for the player that, they're not normal zombies. You don't just get bitten and turn into a zombie, you actually have to be possessed, but interesting stuff there. Right? Anyway, so since we've got our first level up, we're level 2. This means that we've got access to choosing our first class. Obviously, you don't get anything at level 1 because you're just a dude. You've just fallen off the rope. Everything is new and interesting. So, when you're picking your class, we'll actually get a huge number of choices, but what you want to do is remember that you get to pick 2 classes. You'll get one at level 2, and then you'll get your second class at level 10. So, going into the game, deciding what you want to build, or what combination of classes you want to build, is halfway important. One of the cool things about Grim Dawn is that you can build limitless numbers of characters to do so much stuff, and that's really where a lot of the replayability comes in. You can just build and build and build and build. So your soldier class is your general tanky class. It's the front line. It's what we're going to be starting with, but it's really, really good for beginning. Demolition is really gun and mage play. It's all about dot damage and range. Occultist, the next one up, is going to be your mage and dot summoning class. So it's got a lot of cool stuff that other mage classes don't. Nightblades are kind of bursty melee assassins. You just jump in, kill a lot of stuff real quick, jump out. Arcanist is just your flat-out mage class. It's just lasers, damage, all that stuff. Shamans are elemental mages that will raise or summons. Inquisitors are all guns, shooties, traps. So think your general ADC kind of archetype. Necromancers are melee mages that summon, who are actually really tanky as well. And then Oathkeepers are another full tanky frontline class that focus on shields, fire damage, and being ultimately really, really cool. But like I said, we're going to start with Soldier, and if you are also starting Soldier, remember that Shockwave, or Force Wave, sorry, is your kind of general AoE clear ability. You just got to assign it to, hopefully on the Xbox it'll auto-assign stuff for you, but you can see it there, and it's pretty cool. The other thing you might have picked up on, I went and picked up this big green sword. It's always going to be in that position. It is a kind of a beginner item. So the other thing right next door to it is this detonation site. You need dynamite for this. You'll get dynamite later on in the game, but remember that that's there because it's a cool little side quest that digs you deeper into the game, the lore, all sorts of cool stuff. But there are 3 items in the beginning of the game that are all green, that have good, big stats, depending on how you want to play the game, but they help you kind of push your way through Lower Crossing and the first boss of the game quicker. So one is Hevel's Greatsword, which we've got. There's also Francis's gun, which he uses to shoot himself with and leave a note and give to you, which is nice of him. And then there is Ullman's Axe, which is a one-handed axe, I believe, that does freezing damage. I'm not sure. But ultimately, we'll end up picking up Ullman's Axe at some point here, because since we're being a soldier, we'll want to use a shield and a one-handed item, which will let our class kind of shine as it goes on, and you can kind of train your brain how to work around those abilities. Because if you're using a two-handed weapon, things work differently, especially if you are taking abilities that require a shield. So, I guess more on that in a later video, but you can see the shockwave just clearing the mobs there. Easy XP, big chunks of it happening. We're level 3 already, so we've got some points to put down. I particularly like to save those. I like to save a lot of points until I get to level 10 so that I have a pretty even distribution between my first class and my second class, which is really helpful for kind of maintaining the evenness. I don't like to dump all of my points into one class, especially if I don't have a build figured out. But one of the other cool things about Grim Dawn is that you can kind of mix and match as you go. No matter what you do, there are things in Grim Dawn that will let you reset the points that you have put into something. So your stats, you can redo those. Your ability points, you can redo those. No matter what you do, you can take everything back down to 0 and then redo everything. So there's Francis's gun and Francis's note. All the lore in this game does give you a lore bonus. I think that's pretty standard for action RPGs at this point in time, but yeah, just right-click all the lore that you get. Read it if you want to, because it is really cool as the way that they develop the world, but it will always give you a decent chunk of XP. And now we're going to actually go find another... Oh boy, the frame rate is chugging so hard right now. Can we stop that? Hopefully that doesn't become a huge problem. Oh man. But right now I'm looking for another side quest. So there's a little boat over here. There it is. Got to kill the bug real quick. No more Rift Scourge. And I'm going to show you another side mission that you'll unlock later on that comes with some other cool lore. And there is a couple tough enemies. The Slith, as they are known, inhabit this portion of the world. And they're not actually as easy to kill as the zombies. So especially if you're rocking a two-hander and you can't block anything, you might have to do a little bit of kiting. Obviously, they all die with one swing of our Force Wave. But then again, I don't have all the points that I could have in the Force Wave, so maybe that's where I'm falling short. Regardless, once you clear out all of this stuff here, there is a house with a trapdoor up on the top side of the map that will get you down into the research facility, I suppose it is. But, yeah, that's just all sorts of stuff that you can figure out later. I'm just showing you where it is, getting some XP farmed up from our snaky brethren. And hopefully some, maybe there's some cool gear? There's definitely some lore. Ew, easy XP. Open up. Oh, and we can talk about components now, because we've just picked up one. Obviously, the door is locked. You have to get the mission itself, which will get you the key and get down in there. It's good that we can't go down there because I think the enemies down there are much worse than the ones up here, which you can see I'm already having trouble with. Now, components. Components are cool because they're kind of like socketed items, but they go on literally everything. This game does not have sockets, but as long as you pick up a component that will actually attach to the item that you're looking at, you can use it, which is really cool. We just picked up, I think, a lodestone. Wow, the frame rate. What is going on? We just picked up a lodestone and a, I believe it was it's an ice thing. I can't remember what the name of it is. But you can attach those to your weapons, and since we have got a two-hander right now, we can only attach one to it, right? You can't attach more than one component to an item at a time, but you can attach a component to literally every facet of your gear. And then once we pick up the Ullman's axe and we get our shield attached as well, we're going to be able to use two components, which will unlock two abilities for us. Some components have abilities to them. Some components just update stats for you and do things that you need them to do passively. But other components have active effects as well. Now, the other thing I'll mention to you about your character class, you have a bar at the bottom of the class which you will put points in to unlock abilities as you go in the class. That being said, they also update stats. So anytime that you put points into that bar, you're getting stats that you can see while hovering over that plus button, which is really cool. So if you need maybe some more physique, or you need some more cunning, or you need something like that to use a specific weapon or something to that effect, maybe you just put points into your passive class bar instead of putting points into your character itself. Now, the reason I bring up the faction window here is because the monsters that we just happened upon were fighting. Now, there are different factions of towns, friendly people, but there are also different factions of enemies, which is going to play out very much in the end game. But just remember, for now, monsters will fight each other because they are all part of different factions, and not only do they hate you, the character, but they hate mostly each other too, and there's a lot of infighting in the world, which is actually pretty cool. Now, Barlog? Is it Barlog or Barog? It's Barog the Bloodied. The first kind of easy, unique monster you're going to face, but oh my god, the frame rate. I'm sorry, I'll fix this in the next video. I don't know why it's chugging so hard, but we'll close out all the other stuff. My apologies. We'll fix this, I promise. Anyway, you can see our buddy, Barog the Bloodied, dropped us what's called a monster infrequent. These are special items that only certain monsters can drop, and because he's dropped this one and it's better than Ullman's axe, we're going to use that instead, because it has some good stats on it, and it's more difficult to find. The fact that he dropped it for us is actually pretty good, pretty serendipitous, because monster infrequents are harder to find. That's why they're called infrequents, and they do have special stats attached to them. Unfortunately, this isn't going to do anything for our soldier class, but be more damaging, and it's got some good passive stats on it. And now we can equip our chilled steel and our lodestone, which will give us access to the ice spike and it's like an electric shockwave. Can't remember what it's called, but I've attached them to our Q and our W at the moment, so you'll see those explode and do lots of damage. Pick up some journals from Inquisitor Creed. Get that XP shortly here as well. And then what we really need to do is go finish the mainline story quest. In the Burial Hill, we've got to go find what's making all the zombies that are attacking Devil's Crossing. Devil's Crossing is our home base. It's the prison. Got to pick up that Searing Ember, almost forgot. Got to get all the components that we can, honestly. Everything that we can pick up and attach to weapons is going to be useful in some way. My god, computer, please. I just need you to stop. I don't know why it's freaking out. It should be 60 FPS, but maybe I have got too much shit open in the background. So, damn. And all that XP that we got on Hargate's Isle with all the Slith guys, that's pretty helpful. Those ice spikes, obviously one-shotting the little enemies, and then our lodestone, our shockwave, should be doing about the same thing. Yeah. As long as it hits them, they're going to explode, and then we've got the force wave to back all that stuff up. Now, you can see we're burning through a lot of energy, too. Because we've got more abilities, we're not really going to be a mage class, so energy isn't going to be a huge thing in this build, which is why you're going to see that green bar drop real quick early on in the game here. Yeah. And I've also decided to pull the camera in a bit for a more cinematic approach, because I think zooming in makes it a little bit cooler, if we're being honest. Zooming out is definitely more efficient as far as playing, but when you play close up like this, you get a more cozy feel. Cozy being the operative word. Going down into the cave entrance from Burial Hill. This is the Burial Cave. I know. Just got a whole bunch of zombies to kill here. We gotta find the boss. And then you can take a look at the devotion shrine in the background there. We're gonna talk about that in a second. Lots of corpses, lots of coffins with runes on them, maybe to keep the corpses inside. Picking up some more scrap. I do need scrap. Scrap and all the purple things that you can pick up are really important. Kazog the Reanimator, the first boss of the game, will be infinitely more difficult to kill than Barog the Bloodied, because that guy had 0 health and this guy has a lot of health. Summons a whole bunch of minions all throughout your fight with him, and will occasionally throw snot grenades at you that will shoot green fire. But all the AoE abilities that we have are going to be super easy for taking out his minions while doing big damage to him, so we can worry about all of the inventory later. He did also drop us a monster infrequent, which is his skull. It's a caster offhand, so it's not going to be any use to us, but it is still very helpful, depending on what class you're playing, obviously. Taking out the Aether Clusters, which will always give you the Aether Crystals, which are needed for both a mission in the beginning and as crafting material, which we'll probably be talking about soon here. Whew. No, that armor is not good. Can't even use the shield yet because we don't have the stats for it just yet. Gonna go ahead and pop the lore bonuses as well, and then we need to open this devotion shrine. Now, some devotion shrines are going to ask you to do different things. Ruined shrines are going to ask you for a material, while desecrated shrines will ask you to kill a bunch of monsters, and that is going to cleanse the shrine. Now, once you've done that, you're going to go and open up your devotion menu, because you've gotten yourself a devotion point. You can see here it is a huge constellation map. There are constellations all around the outside that will give you huge stat bonuses, abilities, whether they're passive or active, and they'll help you really evolve the build that you're working towards. So, all that being said, figure out which one of these that you want on the outside. I haven't yet because I'm still kind of undecided on what build we're going to go with, but I do know I'm going to be using a shield and a one-hander, so we'll probably, at the very least, pick up some shield block chance and build towards that sort of stuff. So, Targo's Hammer, I think it is. I think that's the... No, it's Targo the Builder. That's this constellation over here. And that passive shield wall is something that I want. So we're going to start building into the Order constellations, which are the yellow ones. You can see all of them unlocked here. We'll get more points. You only get 55 of these throughout all difficulties of gameplay. So no matter how many you get, 55 is the cap, and you have to make sure that you use them correctly. All that being said, we've got the quest. We're going to turn it into Captain John Bourbon, and then we're going to call this video done. So, just to recap, we've gone over some gear, we've gone over some lore, we've gone over some easy game mechanics like your devotion points, your classes, all the component stuff.
Welcome to Devil's Crossing. I need some time to plan our strategy.
Welcome to Devil's Crossing.
There are others around
Just like he said.
who could use your help.
Anyway, we'll jump back more into it with this video. If you liked it, if you learned something, feel free to like, comment, subscribe your heart out. But we'll be back next time. Get that second class and learn what's going on out in the world. Have yourself a nice time. Peace out.